it's kind of the end of Peter's arc, really, for the 5th season. I mean, that really, in the beginning, you see him so happy to have his family together, and he's, in this odd situation, extremely, he just feels lucky and blessed to have his wife and his child together again in his life, and then she gets taken from him, and he goes on this, he just goes ape, and he goes on this massive killing spree, and then he gives it up right at the last moment, because at the end of the day, he chooses the one that's still there as opposed to the one that's gone already.
I think it's kind of a shame that Etta never gets told what the significance of the bullet. I mean, she's worn it since she was 13, and she knows it's important in some way, but she doesn't know how it's important. And I know it's an amazing story, having seen the episode where Walter shoots Olivia, and to hear that her grandfather shot her mother and that her mother survived would be an insanely awesome thing to know.
He's fully committed. I mean, he's far beyond the place where he could or would want to step out, to decide that this is not the path that he wants to take. And part of the hubris, part of the human part that you're still seeing, instead of just killing Windmark, he's actually toying with him, because part of his desire, that bloodlust, is he doesn't just want to kill Windmark, he wants to make him feel as much as he can the fear and anxiety and nausea of being hunted, of being stalked, like he did with my daughter. So I think Peter is kind of toying with him because he wants, as much as any observer can, this man to live in misery for the last couple of days of his life before killing him.
When Peter implants the observer tech into his head, and that integrates with his organic matter, and starts to, basically what starts to happen is that the brain grows, or certain functions of the brain, and those areas that deal with emotion and feelings are sort of taken over, commandeered by this growth. So they become different sorts of people. And he in his experimentation, he finds out that this is what's happening. They use a computer model and they say, that's what's happening. And it's irreversible. Please, Peter, take it out before, if you don't do it now, I can't save you. And Peter, already too much of an observer, just looks at him like he's a fool. Says, why would I do that? Is it too late for Peter, we ask ourselves. I hope not.
This was her last thought before she expired.
Windmark puts those thoughts into Peter's head. It's such a petty and vindictive thing to do. So it shows us a different place that the observers are willing to go to, that they actually enjoy causing pain, right? It's a sadistic thing to do. He doesn't just kill Peter, which he could. He instead decides to put into his head so he can actually sort of shatter him emotionally right before he kills him. So it's an interesting thing. It seems like a real break for the observers, because now Peter has unwittingly brought Windmark down to his level. That's a human thing to want to do, to actually feel the desire to hit back, right? Not a very observer-like thing.
Olivia comes into the lab after she's found out that Peter has put this tech in his body. And I think that Astrid's first thought is he going to turn? Like, they have no idea what happens when you put observer tech into your body, because none of them have ever done it. Is this going to turn Peter into a bad guy? Because none of the observers that they know besides September is a good guy. And what happens if what if he just doesn't come back? What if they never see him again? She has no idea. I mean, there's a whole world of awful possibilities that could happen with the fact that Peter's put this tech in his head.